tell us about young Caris, what you thought you were going to be when you grew up.
Oh boy. Well, just like any good 90s kid, I wanted to be a marine biologist. I mean, there's some truth there, but predating that, little Caris, she loved Jazz Jackrabbit, and her grandfather had a Nintendo Entertainment System. We had 3 cartridges. My brother and I would play, and we beat Rampage. We would play Duck Hunt and the Mario combination game. And if anyone knows the game Prisoner of War, the Nintendo Entertainment System, I'm convinced I dreamed it, or I'm in an alternate timeline that never had it. Anyway, it's a different story. But yeah, Prisoner of War. It was like a beat 'em up.
War.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't remember that one.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm traveling from another dimension, I guess.
We can have a whole other conversation about that someday.
Yeah, exactly. My first experience with video games, I think, with all that being said, was Descent on the DOS. My dad wanted me to play, and he pulled me up on his lap, and he said, "Okay, you need a call sign." And then I learned later that was considered a gamer tag. So when people asked me to name myself in the game, I was like, "Oh yeah, I have one of those." And I used that until I changed it eventually, which, you know what, it was a really good one. It was my cat's name and my middle name smashed together. It's really pretty smart. That was his idea. So Jazzy Beth was, nobody steal my bank information after this. That's what this is a long ploy to get nobody knows not telling you what street I grew up on either.
That's right. Yeah. And what's your mother's maiden name? And,
almost got me. Yeah. Let's see. I used to draw the ending of Jazz Jackrabbit because I was really entranced by the prospect that he would save his girlfriend in the end. But I remember finishing the game and being kind of unsatisfied with the ending, so I would draw my own ending. I think that's what kind of started this whole thing.
Okay.
I would also jump into Microsoft Paint on the computer, our family computer, and I would do pixel art Disney princesses, as any good 90s kid would. I just wanted to create what I saw in my games on the screen. So I think a lot of it has to do with growing up with an older brother. Anything that he would ask for or he would play, I would say, "Oh, me too, I want to play that too." And I would eventually inherit his hand-me-downs, and I would play with his Game Boy, his Tetris, the Star Wars for the Game Boy. Eventually grew into, the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, the Xbox. We really only had an Xbox after I got into high school. We were a PlayStation household, but we were definitely a Sega Genesis, Nintendo 64 household before that. So, but I remember a very significant Christmas. My brother got a car, and they kept it a secret the whole Christmas until the very end. But before that could happen, they had to justify him getting a car by getting me a bunch of cool stuff. I had to have a significant Christmas too. So I received from my parents, was very gracious, very generous, a television from my own room, a CRT television, a PlayStation 2, and a DDR dance pad.
Oh,
it was a big deal.
That is a big deal. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I never looked back. I was a PlayStation person after that. But yeah, then they, gave him a piggy bank with Snickers in it with some keys in the bottom, and he flipped it over and the keys fell out. And then in the driveway was my uncle's beat up pickup truck, and he went and the keys didn't fit. And then he turned around, and my other uncle was driving down the street with a big red bow on his Ford Probe GT.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a nice story. So let's see. I also would watch Screensavers. I know that sounds really interesting, but let me tell you about it. I think it was like Corel Paint or something that my dad he had an interest in graphic design because he would create logos and things. So he had a logo type thing on his computer and I would play with it. But with it came these really cool screensavers. I think it was Corel Draw or something. The screensavers would be time-lapse screensavers of what people would do in that program. And I remember being like 5 and just staring at it, and it would just go and go and go. Anyway, so I was just like, how do they do that? I want to know how they did that. Fast forward to 10-year-old Caris. She receives a book from her uncle. And my uncle was really good at art. He still is. And he's really good with graphite and draw really well, very realistically. And he gave me this book and he said, if you can read this book, you can draw like me. And I was like, whoa, it was like receiving like some like tablet like of knowledge.
Wisdom.
And,
yeah.
like this ancient wisdom. And I was like, this is amazing. So I would, as a 10-year-old, trying to read this big giant book. Then as an 11-year-old, trying again. Finally, as a 12-year-old, I was like, get it now. The neurons finally like connected, I guess. And so I started just like doing art all the time. But I never like all this time, like being a person who plays video games like Spyro the Dragon and Tony Hawk Pro Skater, like doing all those things. I never wanted to do art at school. I never wanted to be an artist.
Really?
That's the truth. Yeah, I didn't. I wanted to be a street artist, like a person who does caricatures on the side of the road, or at theme parks and things. And someone, and I don't remember who, and I'm not being coy for this purpose, but I literally don't know who said this to me. I told them that, and they said, maybe aim higher. And I stopped wanting to be an artist. I was like, okay, well, maybe I don't do that. Maybe I just do art as a hobby and I enjoy it. And so I started looking at other things. I was like, well, I'll be a marine biologist. That's cool. Until I went to SeaWorld when I was a child and got terrified. Absolutely terrified at the depth of the orca tanks. I was just like, whoa.
You say
maybe
the depth?
The depth.
Okay, gotcha.
Ooh, have you ever gone to SeaWorld?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever stood at the edge of the orca tank?
I have indeed. Yeah, my wife worked there for a couple of years. So I'm, I know exactly what you mean.
Horrifying. Anyway, I digress. I was into choir and music. I played the violin. I was first chair and second chair in our school orchestra, and I would sing and I was dancing and doing like the all county chorus and like competing and stuff like that. And I was in the international baccalaureate, whatever, and dropped out of it in the middle of high school so that I had too many credits. And they said, well, you can either drop out of school now because you pretty much are ready to graduate, or you can just hang out and do choir all day. So that's what I did.
You did choir all day?
Yeah, for the last like 6 months of my senior year of high school.
All right.
It's crazy. All that is to say, I never did art. I was just always doing art. But that choir class, I remember, and Mr. Scruggs, if you're watching this, I'm giving this to you. My choir teacher was watching what I was showing my friend. I was drawing pictures and stuff. And I did a lot of like animated looking characters. If you see my artwork now, you can probably recognize. I was drawing like that back then because I would just do it all the time is what I was really into. I'd do comics and stories with my friends. It's like how we had fun is like we would draw comics together, right? Cool. Ever since we were in middle school. And he looked over my shoulder and he was like, oh, that's cool. You want to be an animator when you grow up? That's a weird thing to say. Like it was a 2D picture. Like he didn't say you want to be an artist, you want to be like a drawer, like hold clothes, be a drawer.
Right.
Anyway, he said, do you want to be an animator? And I said, no, I don't really know what I want to do. And I remember like the vitriol, like the anger, like the straight up like sass in his face and his voice when he goes, you can draw like that and you don't know what you want to do. And he just walks away. I was like, oh.
That's what we call disgust. I'm just
Anyway, it was a life-changing moment for me because I was like, maybe I've gotten to a point where this is like a viable career path for me. And that's something I always wanted to do. Like I would pause my CRT television and trace pictures of Simba. Like that was just like that was what I enjoyed because I wanted to recreate what I saw on the screen, like so many of us do.
Yeah.
Those of us in the chat and maybe artists. Um, anyway, so yeah, I went to Full Sail because I wanted to be a computer animator.
Okay.
And I said, well, either I'm going to be a graphic designer, and at this point, I was getting paid to do book covers. I had my first published book as a cover artist at I think 19 years old, and yeah, it's like, hey, maybe there's something to this, and either I'm going to be doing like magazine stuff for the local Santa Claus Fun Run, which actually happened all my life, or I'm going to go do something else. So I went to Full Sail and I started out in computer animation. I switched over to game art when I started getting my toes wet into technical art stuff. Full Sail taught me Python and mail scripting and rigging, and I was terrible at it. Terrible at it. And I actually failed on purpose so that I could learn better.
Interesting.
And yeah, right. I went up to my teacher and I was like, hey, I know that I got like a C, but like, can you fail me?
So I did the exact same thing with my first programming class there.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, look, I could get by with this C, but I'm gonna be a C student from that point, right? Because like it's gonna be really hard to catch up. So I retook the class, did much better, and then I was a straight A student afterwards. It's like the best college decision that I made. It was like it is okay to do things like that, right? Like and you should talk with your instructors about stuff like that, because if you're not ready and you don't know the content, don't try and just get by, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Do not be afraid of failure. In fact, this will be the first time that I say this, and it will not be the last during this, but fail fast, follow the fun. That's what we do. It's everything. You know, if once you learn how to fail, you're pretty much set.
Failing is fast. Hard. It is. Man, you got to be vulnerable to fail fast too. And I think that's the most difficult part of it, right? Because we often want to put our best foot forward. We want to, we put a lot of ourselves into the things that we're doing, and for it to be a failure, that hurts, right? Like it's a painful thing. But when you realize that failure makes you learn a lot and then be able to do something much better afterwards, like that's, man, it's a kind of a life-changing perspective.
Yeah, it's perfection is a goalpost that's always getting further and further away from you.
Yeah.
No matter how hard you try. And I used to be a perfectionist. I still kind of am, but I have to kind of intentionally put that away. And that's really hard. But failing is easy to do, but it's hard to do emotionally, I guess.
It's hard on you. It really is. Yeah.
But once you kind of get hardened to it, every failure comes with a lesson, right? They always say that, making mistakes teaches you things. Well, let's just like fail a lot and we'll learn really fast, right? It's like literally it. It's also like, how we get into things like rapid iteration. We just make a bunch of incorrect choices and then we know what we don't want.
Yeah.
Or at least like putting something on paper and getting it started is going to be so much more valuable than like staring at the blank paper. I love the visual of an artist staring at a blank page or a blank canvas and then just like getting mad and like throwing the paint can, and then they start going, oh, and they start like moving their fingers around on it. Like that's how I feel when it comes to anything in my life, especially game development.
Yeah.
Just start making stuff and then like something will come out of it, because something can't come from nothing.
Yeah.
If you're afraid to start, you'll never start. So
that blank canvas is tough, right? Like the actually putting something out there, getting rolling on something can be really difficult, but then also having people look at it is scary. Like it's all scary stuff.
Yeah, super scary.
So you said you already had some cover things happening before you started at Full Sail. Mm-hmm. What age are we talking here? Like when was that happening, and how old were you when you started at Full Sail?
I was 19 years old when I started at Full Sail. I took a year off of high school, and I was a receptionist. And while I was a receptionist, all I did all day was draw. Sorry to my former employer. He's definitely not watching this. But I was a very good receptionist. Let's be real. Yeah. Yeah, wouldn't that be funny? Yeah, I would draw and post-it notes all day, and I would do like flip book stuff and use up all their office supplies.
Nice. What kind of industry was that?
It was a water damage and fire damage cleanup company.
There you go. Yeah. Yep. It's really interesting to me when you think about where we can get like these one-off jobs as we're trying to make our way towards what we want to do. I've heard some wild ones. Yeah.
Well, my town was very small. If you look it up on Wikipedia, it was a town of 103 people. Heard it's 102 now. I'm not there anymore. Yeah, my only options were to work at the Greasy Spoon restaurant or the Blimpies gas station.
Wait,
we didn't get a stoplight till I was in high school. I was in Virginia.
Okay.
Very small town in Virginia.
Small town Virginia. All right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I grew up in small town in Kentucky. A little bigger than that. We had about 15,000 people, but still, like, it was not large, but not that small, right?
I don't think my town qualifies as a town. I think it's a village.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's at least, it's like 1,000 threshold or something to become a town. Yeah. Something like that. Did you have a McDonald's?
Yeah, only later.
Isn't that wild though?
Yeah. We had a McDonald's, and it was right around the time the stoplight went in.
Yeah.
We got the McDonald's, and then we got the Walmart, and then everything changed.
Yeah, that is a big indicator too.
Yeah. Oh, and don't let me forget to mention the horse industry and the logging industry. Like, if I wasn't a logger, like a person who cuts wood and trees. Yeah. If I wasn't a horse person or a logging person, I don't think I would have made it out of it. Unless I was one of those few people, I wouldn't have made it out of that town. So.
Yeah, that's yeah. Where I grew up, it was you worked for the railroad or you worked for Pepsi. That's all there was. So other than the normal small stuff, right? But that was the two industries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I was 19 years old, and I just picked up all my stuff and moved to Florida. You know, I thought Orlando was the coolest place, and yeah, I've been here ever since. All Sorry, right. Mom and Dad.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that too. So you started at 19. You thought you were going to do animation. Mm-hmm. How far into the program did you make that change? When did you realize you weren't going to do animation?
I made the switch at the part where they give you the option.
Okay. That's nice.
And yeah, I made the switch because of the rigging class and the technical art class. Well, it wasn't a technical art class. Because of the programming class, I said I had. It's gonna sound like such a simp thing to say, but I had started to get used to Unity, and I thought Unity was really cool, and started, scripting and coding and stuff. And, I was doing extra hours, like taking tutoring classes. Hello, those who tutored me. I appreciate you. You probably thought I was just the most infuriating person, but I clearly absorbed it, and it meant a lot to me. Yeah, because it all was just spaghetti to me. It didn't make any sense. I had a really hard time with like animation dope sheets as well. Yeah. It took a lot. Yeah. I remember like the moment that I realized how deep I was in this, and I had a breakdown. I was just crying, and I was like, all right, snap out of it. You're either going to give up or you're not. So like, what are you doing? Are you going to keep crying about it, or are you going to get it done? And that was like a turning point for me. But yeah, I must have been like a year into the program when they gave the option to switch into game art. But it definitely was like getting into the real-time engine stuff like Unreal and Unity. Okay. That made the impact on me that made me want to be a game artist rather than a computer animator.
That totally makes sense. And knowing you, that totally makes sense. And I love that option is there too, right? Like that, because some of those degrees over there are very similar up until a certain point. You've got so many of the general electives and things and stuff in the same sphere. It's nice though that there's that point where I didn't have that option when I went through, but having that kind of option to be like, oh, this piece of or this subsection of what I'm doing that I already knew I was interested in is more my jam. That's really cool. I like that.
I liked it a lot too. And I guess moving on from that, I guess all of my friends and everyone that I had talked to at that point, they all had like a dream. And I had a dream, don't get me wrong. They all had a dream that was incredibly specific. Like, I want to work for Bungie. I want to work for Nintendo. I want to work for, something. I want to work on some game. I want to make my favorite game or something like that. And I didn't really feel like that. And so I felt, I guess, influenced to make a decision like that. Like, okay, so I guess I'll go to Blizzard. Like, but I don't think I'll ever go to Blizzard. Like, I think that that's a really lofty goal. And so I started identifying, like, why did I want to go to Blizzard? Well, I wanted to go to Blizzard because I wanted to make other people feel the way that my favorite games made me feel. And my favorite game is StarCraft 2.
Oh, okay. Why?
And why?
That's your favorite game of all time?
Yeah.
That's a question on my list to ask you. So tell us why.
I love tactics games. I love strategy games. And that is a game that I can play over and over and over and never get sick of. I'm also really big into Fire Emblem. I'm also really big into Final Fantasy, but I don't really love the battle system. So I've been told that I should try Final Fantasy Tactics, and I haven't done it yet. For what reason? I don't know.
That is my favorite game of all time.
That's wonderful.
So, but it's interesting. Like, you mentioned an RTS and a turn-based game.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So I feel like they're similar, except one's turn-based and one's not. Like, I don't like Final Fantasy because it's turn-based. Fire Emblem has more tactics mechanics
strategy
than Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I really, really, really like StarCraft 2 because it's real time. And that really just itches that part of my brain that wants that. I can keep playing all the time because I feel like the better I get at StarCraft 2, the better I get at my life. And I don't understand why I feel that way. Like, keeping track of multiple things at once, like managing different economies at the same time, and like making sure I'm keeping track of this as well as this and this. Anyway, that's why I like that game. Right. So I wanted to go to Blizzard. And I didn't feel confident that I would make it. So there was some bullying elements there, like people telling me that I would never make it and that kind of thing. And I really took it to heart because I was feeling a little down on myself. So I said, okay, well, why do I want to do that? So I identified that the reason I wanted to go to Blizzard, because what I said, okay. And so I said, well, I can do that anywhere. I can make impactful change in someone's life anywhere. And I sat and I thought, and I was like, well, why do I want to stop there? Can I make impactful change at a wider scale? So I kind of just like tucked that away, and I decided that I would take any contracts that kind of lit that little fire in me about making impactful change on a wide scale. And what I didn't know I was getting into was the world of non-games development and real world, I think it's called non-games technical art, specifically because of the skill sets I had built. And that's kind of what led me here. I just kept picking up the things that lit that little fire, whether it was 3D printing or litigation imaging, which that's pretty cool stuff. Or I did a VR safety simulation for children, fire safety simulation for children. other stuff. Finally went on to the architectural engineering and construction industry doing virtual reality development. And that's what led me here to the artificial intelligence organization at Unity Technologies.
I have so many questions to answer you or to ask you before we get there. Like that's there's so much. But first, I want to say, like you touched on the thought that people discouraged you, said that you couldn't do that. And man, that is one of my least favorite things in the world. And because it's so hard to hear, it's so demoralizing. But what we don't understand when we're in that moment is that every time you hear someone tell you that you can't do something, it's because that person doesn't think they could do it. Right. And it's a personal thing they're putting on you. And they have no idea what you're capable of. And you've clearly shown that you're capable of more than they thought you could do. Right. So my advice to anyone that hears you can't do that is just remember that that's them in their own space, right? That has nothing to do with what you are actually capable of. So it's such a hard thing to hear.
I know. I was absolutely, I agree with you. Thank you for that. And I feel very strongly about it as well. Looking back on it, recognizing, the motives for putting me down in those ways. And I wish I could say it was one person, but it wasn't. And I realized that it wasn't my responsibility to babysit their feelings at that time.
Yeah.
It was my responsibility to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And when I went on and did that. Yeah.
And the worst part about it is we usually hear that stuff when we are young and we don't know what we're capable of yet, right? So we tend to believe it, and that really sucks. That's
I was 20.
Yeah, you have no idea who you are at 20 years old, right? Like every 5 years you realize, 5 years ago I had no idea what I was doing. Like I still do that today, almost 45. Like it's you continually grow as a person and see what you're capable of. Yeah. And I look back at some of those kind of things in the past and I'm just like, I'm really glad I didn't listen to that person,
Yep. And on that note, here's my favorite part of this story is the day that I started at Unity Technologies, like my first day at Unity Technologies, I opened up my LinkedIn and I had a chat message from a contact who was letting me know that there was a position open at Blizzard and they wanted me to apply. They thought I was perfect for it.
Oh no. What did you do?
Yeah. I cried. I cried a lot. But I cried because I realized that wasn't what I wanted anymore. I had achieved something far greater than I ever thought I was possible. I ever thought that I was capable of. And now I was looking back at this goal that I had when I was graduating, realizing that wasn't right for me.
Yeah.
That I had found something that really made that little fire like really glow brightly. And that made me so happy that I was just a absolute mess.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And the way I like to think about it is not right now, like you may still end up at Blizzard, like you may still get that opportunity down the road, who knows, but right now, what you want to be doing and that's what you're doing. And that's
absolutely great. Yeah, no, who knows who I'll be, I didn't know who I was 10 years ago. And especially, you know what, there was no job opening or career path for an emerging technology developer in the non-game space 10 years ago. Like I wouldn't be able to plan for this.
Right. Yeah.
There's no VR developer title.
Yeah. That was not a thing. Right.
No.
Absolutely.
I love that about this because I kept chasing what made me say, I want to make impactful change. And now I'm working on things, like self-driving vehicles, autonomous vehicles and, search and rescue systems and, safety simulations and, things that save large companies time, money, and potentially lives. I'm excited. I'm very happy.
That's, that's something I think we don't talk about enough in tech and in games and in software, is that we have no idea what's going to be an option 10 years from now. Like, there are going to be things that we have not even thought about now that are going to be viable job options in 10 years. Like, who would have thought people would make money streaming video games on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
Or on YouTube? Like, that wasn't a job option 10 years ago. Like, nobody talked about that. And I got to say, high school guidance counselors have their work made out for them right now. Like, that is a like, coming out of there, like, I had no idea, right? Like, that these kind of things would be a thing. It's wild.
It's kind of intense.
Yeah, man. So, all right, let's back up just a little bit, and I want to talk about the end of your time at Full Sail. So you're now finished, because, like, I love to ask people, when you're finishing up your time, first of all, what was your final project like, and when did you start job searching?
Golly, my final project was doing game dev, game art collaboration style games, where we and the other artists and I would get paired up with the game development teams for a month or two, and we would do the concept art for their games, and then after that, and do pitches, and they would choose one of the pitches. And then we would go off into like a outsourcing room, and we would do art for all of the games that were being made at the same time. And I ended up having a few pieces on my portfolio at the end of that. And I also worked on some large pieces that were just going into the bank. I love Warhammer, so I had like a big Warhammer orc that I worked on, some like Kung Fu fighter characters. And I was graduating as a character artist and doing some rigging as well, but it wasn't the strong point at that time. So I also did a piece for someone else's project that I worked in collaboration with. We had Lindsay Sterling come in, the violinist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she did motion capture for us. I never got to meet her. My other peer did.
How have I never heard of that? I had no idea that happened.
Right? Yeah. It was just 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
No big deal.
I mean,
So we had her come in, and I didn't organize this at all. I can't take any credit, but I'm kind of really into anatomy of faces and caricatures, kind of like why I do what I do now. I have a small business on the side doing live digital caricatures, and I did a small stint on Twitch doing live digital caricatures for charity. So that was super fun. So I did Lindsay Sterling's caricature, and I did her likeness in 3D because we didn't do any scanning or anything. They just went front photo, side photo, and I did her likeness. And then I did her body sculpt and her outfit. I did her outfit, designed her clothes and stuff like that. And she was animated with like a background and stuff, collaboration with other people. Anyway, that was cool.
That's wild.
Yeah, super cool, right? I forgot about that. I didn't forget about that, but there's just so many cool things that happened at the end of that time. When I graduated, I spent a lot of time playing StarCraft.
Okay.
And I played StarCraft and I relaxed for like a month or two. I did a lot of Tumblr. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What were you hoping to do? Like what was you're getting done with school? What was your immediate hope for career?
I wanted to get a job, and I wanted to have income.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had very low expectations at that time. I just knew I needed to get in somewhere. I still have a Post-it note on my PC sitting next to me. Like the Post-its, like the Windows Post-its that I will never close, because it's a list of jobs that I was waiting to hear back from after I graduated. It was like Pollo Tropical and like all the restaurants in the general vicinity and GameStop. And I got a job at GameStop.
Nice.
Yeah.
Somewhat related. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Okay. And I got fired because they heard about my internship at Full Sail.
Oh, that's not cool.
Okay, well, I didn't get fired. Sorry, GameStop, if you're listening. They let me go after the holiday season. They're like, hey, it was really cool to have you for the holiday season. I was like, I wasn't a holiday hire.
Yeah,
and they're like, that's cool.
You see, you're doing an internship at Full Sail. What was that? What was that like? Like, what were you doing at that point?
I was doing art for the game dev midterm project, SGP 1 and 2. I was on a very intense clip doing 2D game characters and animation sprite sheets, environment pieces, and that was one of the best job experiences that I've had. I say that gently because I think I've done some cool stuff now, but at the time it was the best choice I could have made because I was just in a like hyperbolic time chamber, I guess, like just constantly churning out stuff.
Yeah.
You know. But while that was happening, I was searching for jobs, and I'll say something about that because I would go to conventions that were relevant to my degree, and I went to this one animation convention, and it wasn't. I'm not being coy. It wasn't an anime convention. It was literally a convention for animation. And
important distinction.
Not that I'm, haven't seen an anime convention or two, but this particular one, I brought my business cards and I was ready to just like t-shirt cannon my business cards. Just kidding. No, I didn't do that. What I did, and then this is what I'm sharing with you. My method was to continue to go around the expo space and get to know the product that they were selling. And then try to identify what I could do to their product to improve it, and how I could see myself working at that company. So I didn't fit in everywhere, right? But there were some places that I looked and I said, yeah, I could give them something. And then I went to this one booth multiple times and I was asking valuable questions like, what software are you using to do this? And what kind of method are you using to get this effect and that kind of thing? And I wasn't even like introducing myself. I wasn't like being like, I want a job. It was like asking questions that let them know that I knew what I was talking about, right? So like on maybe the third pass through, this one particular booth was like, do you want a job?
Yes, I do. Yes,
I do. And I had a job at that company by the end of the week.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that was maybe it was right after I got let go from GameStop, and I got picked up right into that. And I kept that company. I kept that job for the next year and a half, and built because they didn't have an art pipeline. I built them an art pipeline and workforce underneath me, and I art managed everybody. And then when I left, I put someone else in my place, and they did very well for multiple years after that. So
nice.
Feel pretty good about that. But yeah, all that time I was doing the internship at Full Sail, and that led into a lab specialist position. And while I was doing the lab specialist position, I also was doing contracts, and I was just absolutely grinding constantly.
Doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Picking up the contracts that lit that fire, but also just grinding at Full Sail because I was constantly working on games in Unity, in Unreal, and making art assets over and over and over again, and getting trained in things that I wouldn't maybe have any exposure to otherwise.
Yeah.
Which turned me into an absolute monster. So
that's a dream. No, that's a great, man. I love that. I love that you see a lot of people that will get in a position and that's something that's sustainable, right? But not quite what they want to ultimately be doing. And it's easy to just kind of like get into the ease of that, and let that be the thing that you do. I love that you just kind of kept grinding and figuring out what to do next, and you ended up heading out the way that you wanted to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that way. I feel happy about where it ended up, even though it was scary at certain points. I'm glad that I took the jump. I'm so thankful for all the opportunities I was given and all the people that helped me out throughout the path.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Feel really, really blessed and thankful and appreciative.
That's awesome. So, all right. So now you're doing you said you got your lab specialist position. Tell us a little bit about what that was like.
Yeah, of course. So I was a lab specialist for game development specifically, and I was just doing art, and it was just 2 of us, and my title was studio artist. And someone realized that there was a lab specialist just doing art somewhere. They said, that's not right. And they picked me up and they put me into the game design group, and I loved it. And I had to learn really quickly a lot of different skills that like I mentioned, otherwise I wouldn't have been exposed to, project management and, version control systems. And, I was managing servers and doing things that I really love to do now. But, it's still an IC. Doing a whole bunch of art still. And then eventually I was handling the game art game development collaboration. And then the game art game design collaboration, which is still in place today as the game production class. The game production class is kind of like my legacy at that school. And I'm very happy to be on the program advisory committee.
Oh, good. I didn't know you were. That's awesome.
Yeah, with game art.
Yeah.
And I go in and I check on them and I make sure they're doing okay and offer anything that I can to help, because I really want to make sure that everything is going well and that the skills that the students are learning are relative and relevant to the industry today.
Yeah.
Which is so much different than it was 10 years ago.
Or 20 when I entered.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's right.
We have some questions in chat. Do you want to hit some of these real quick?
What we got?
The first one is, so we've been asked for you to talk about the business card up your sleeve trick. What is that? I haven't heard that.
Who was it? Oh my God.
Reed Mosby.
Oh my God, Reed. Hi. I don't know. Let me see if I have one. Okay. So I went to GDC. Oh, so no. Let me start from the beginning. Anytime I go to a networking event, if I'm wearing my long sleeve like blazer, I will stuff a stack of business cards up my sleeve, and I'll wrap them with a hair tie, and I'll make sure they're oriented correctly. So when I go to shake someone's hand, nice to meet you. My name is Caris.
So it's like a little magic trick each time you meet somebody,
and they never see it coming. Like it's just, it makes me memorable, I guess.
Yeah, no, it does. That's great.
And like all I really want is to make them laugh, because we're doing like networking all day, right? And then they just go, what? Like, so like it's just like, oh, it's nice to meet you. My name is Caris. Like, where did that come from? And it always starts a conversation, and I always reveal my trick.
Everybody that's watching is going to do that now. I'm just saying.
You know what? Good on you, because that means that we're going back to normal and we're meeting people in person and shaking hands.
Also true. Yeah.
Just like tweet me or something.
And so give her some credit. Let her know when you use it.
This is my my Superstars of card. This is the official. This is an official trading card with my face on it.
Oh.
yeah, being an Orlando game developer.
That's awesome.
Me and my colleague Brian here. But yeah, so this is the official Walter Day collection for my contributions to the arcade community.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I didn't know about that. That is
right.
awesome.
I got inducted in 2019.
That is very cool. Congratulations.
Well, we got inducted.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brian.
Yeah. Brian, I'm actually planning to have on here as well. We talked about that recently. So.
Oh, good. Yeah. He's a wealth of knowledge on all topics.
Yeah. I shared a classroom with him for at least a year when I was teaching there on campus. So really good dude. I like him a lot.
Yeah, the best. Like the best. They don't make them like him anymore.
Anymore? I mean, there's hope, right? Like,
pretty sure they stopped at some point.
They retired that formula.
Yeah, if you meet anybody like 10 years old and younger, they're just, throw them out. Let's see.
All right,
so that's my business card trick.
All right, so the next one was, is there anything you want designers or developers to know about the art pipeline?
That's a very
big question.
The art pipeline. Can I have a vowel?
Well, I mean, I think what they're kind of asking is, it's really nice for us to understand what other disciplines do and how they operate, right? So as a designer, I'm not intimately involved in what's important to artists. I've had to learn that over time, right? Like I've had to kind of learn how to collaborate. And, as a programmer, they may not know like what's important to artists and kind of how you think about the flow of the work or what's important to you. Because like the way I always think about a question like this is there's one budget for a game, right? As far as like there's so much memory, there's so much frame rates, those kind of things. What would you like a designer or a programmer that's not intimately involved in art to think about when they're working with artists?
You know what? I think I got it. Prototype everything first. Like, do not wait or rely on your artists for anything. In fact, if you want an artist to do something faster, put something in that's ugly.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. I do that all the time. My art sucks.
And then they look at it, they're like, oh, I'll fix that for you right now. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's a great tactic. It really is.
Yeah. It works on me all the time. Working on a Highlight Heroes, like Brian will put something in that's like really bad, intentionally off the color palette, and I'm just like, okay,
it hurts,
are you gonna show that to people? Okay, yeah, because this has got my name on it too. All right, okay,
yeah,
here you go. And he's like, thanks, I've been asking for that for 2 weeks. Yeah,
I love that. That's a great piece of advice. All right, so I have some questions that I call the dev round that I would like to ask you real quick. And I asked you the first one already, which is what your favorite game is and why. But the next one is, when did you first feel like you had made it in game development?
Still waiting for that, really.
That is a perfectly viable answer.
I'll tell you, when I felt successful, I really felt that when I realized that I could take care of myself and my loved ones. Like, realize that, this is it. I'm able to sustain myself. And I also, when I spoke at GDC.
That's a big milestone for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. There's my answer.
Yeah. That's a good one. What did you talk about?
So, non-games technical art. It's a viable space.
Absolutely.
And something that people want to know about. I was on there with people from Google and other places that I remember and I'm saying right now. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find it. It's in the GDC archives. Yeah, the vaults. There you go. That's what it's called.
Do you know if it's one of the ones that's free to view, or is that one's going to?
I think it's behind the paywall, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, fortunately, it was a panel with a bunch of people.
Nice.
But yeah, we talked about what it's like to work as a game developer outside of the game industry, and like what kind of work we do and what kind of like impact we have.
Yeah.
Everything from writing white papers to the difference in work-life balance that you would find. And overall, everyone agreed that the work-life balance is much, much more palatable in the non-games area.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
I can see that being true. Yeah.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone looking for their first job in the games industry?
So I touched on this a little bit, and I talk with students often. I like to come back to Full Sail and give what I know, because, you know, I feel like we all have to do that, you know, give back.
We should.
I always tell them kind of pieces of what I told you already about like not having that dream job, but identifying why you want that dream job and seeing how you can make change no matter where you go. Because, you know, what would it have been like if I had made my identity a specific company and then that company dissolved, that company got purchased, that company let you down? What happens to your personal identity? So I would encourage any student, any person, any graduate looking for their job to identify why they want that. Do you want to work for X company because you want to make cool stuff? Is it because of the art style? Is it because of the mechanics? Is it because of you want to work on the next game of the year? Is it because someone you know works there? Or, you know, just figure out what that is and then see if you can drive down into how you can achieve that at your next company, no matter what, and work your way through it. Like I wasn't gonna end up at GameStop permanently, but I made sure that I had that. This is the next part of it: making sure that you have no gaps in your resume. Like if you take the time to just work on your portfolio, it's not going to be as convincing as if you had a job at McDonald's and worked on your portfolio. Like if you have gaps in your resume, the engineering firm I worked on needed me to write down every single job that I've ever had and include the dates. And if there was any gaps, I had to justify it. So how are you going to justify those gaps? Make sure you have a job. And if you don't have a job, you know, be a freelancer and be doing contracts. You know, it's tough out there. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, gotta get by too, right?
Yeah, and then the next thing I want to say is the fail fast, follow the fun thing. Because if you say it once, you didn't say it. You say it 3 times, you said it once. Fail fast, follow the fun. It's the 4 F's of game development. Make sure that you use failure as a ladder to climb to where you want to be, and don't chase perfection because you'll never reach it.
That is certain. You said fail fast, follow the fun, right?
That's right.
I'm writing that down. Words of wisdom. I like it. All right, you
I
ready?
use it for everything.
It's a great motto. Like always do that. That's a lot of F's in that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm reminded of the example that was given for the follow the fun part. It's just like keep going. Actually, I'm not gonna mention it. It's just silly. But the end is dropping bombs on a bunch of chickens and then having a counter for how many chickens you've killed. We're gonna skip right over that.
All right.
But the point of following the fun is chasing the elusive feeling of fun. Because what is fun? Can you define it? Go ahead and try. But the point is, you can feel it, right? And when you feel it, you know it's there. So if you follow that feeling, you'll get to that place faster where you have a fun game than you would if you tried to make it perfect. You guys know the idea of like designed by committee.
Mm.
You know, and how things get muddled really quickly. Well, make sure you're not being too academic about your gameplay. Make sure you're really following what's fun. That's how I feel.
I love it. All right. You ready for the last question?
Yeah.
If you were born in the year 1870, what kind of job or career do you think you would have had? I mean, we're talking limited electricity availability at this point.
Oh boy.
I love this question. It's my favorite question.
Realistically,
yeah,
I would have been a mom.
Yeah,
a homemaker.
You think so?
Oh yeah, because what am I going to do in 1860?
You don't think you could have been an artist?
No.
Really?
I think I could have, but I wouldn't have been able to sell it. Like, I see myself like what, like on the organ? No. Where are we? We can look at pictures of 1860. 1860.
You couldn't. Yeah, you couldn't even vote yet. That's
the Civil War era.
That didn't happen until much later.
Maybe I'd be like a costume designer, like a fashion designer. Like I could have done that, right? Because I would have drawn the fashions and sold them. Because maybe I'd be a tinkerer, like an engineer. Like maybe I'd fix pipes and stuff, but they didn't really let women do that.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking, like, what were women allowed to do? Right?
Yeah, it's a valid point, right? Like there was a limited number of things that you truly could have made a career out of. I'm looking at a list right now of occupations from the 1850s to 1870s census.
Yeah.
And this is hilarious. I've never done this, but one of them is beggar, bell maker, a book agent, bookkeeper, carpenter, big one.
Like a photographer, even I think men would
really
do that.
A thing yet?
Yeah, they have like little,
Yeah. It's on here.
Black and white
Photographer.
photos.
Plow maker. Would you like to be a plow maker?
That's someone's last name. It's Plowmaker.
Yeah. There's a lot of them that start with railroad. So there's lots of those. True. Yeah.
Someone said in the chat, you could have been on a wanted poster. Sir, I am lawful good. That's not true. Clear yet.
Yeah.
I would not have been on a wanted poster. I would have been at home with my children, tending to my crops. That's exactly where I would have been.
Oh man, this is it's a very enlightening conversation, right? Like,
yeah.
You could have been. Oh, there is an artist listed.
Oh yeah, I could have like painted, but I feel like maybe I would have been born too lowbrow to afford the paints to learn the skills, unless I'm like full Walt Disney, like on the side of a barn, like with tar and a paintbrush. That's what he did.
So that's interesting. Why do you think you would have been born too lowbrow?
Maybe because I was like, not that I was born, anything other than what I am, and I'm very thankful for what I am. I was on the lower spectrum of the income bracket.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm thinking from that perspective. Like as far as if we're just translating me, I would have been born into a similarly. My father is a minister. My mother's preacher's daughter, so I'm the daughter of a preacher and a preacher's daughter. And I imagine that would have been translated directly into the 1860s, and therefore I would have had a lower income bracket.
That makes sense.
And a very, very happy life, I'm sure. But I'm sure I would have been married off kindly and with some goats
probably
in tow.
12 or 13.
Yeah, and had maybe 10 kids.
Oh boy!
And had a crop of like tomatoes and carrots and potatoes. And maybe sewn my own clothes. We would have had a wonderful, wonderful life.
Taylor's listed here. It's one of the top ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's one listed that I don't know what this is. I mean, I know I've only heard of this in one context, but a Tin Man. What is a Tin Man other than Wizard of Oz? Like,
I don't know.
It's one word. It's TINNMAN. I got to look this up now. I'm fascinated.
Yeah. Didn't the Tin Man get poisoned from all the paint that he had to wear during that movie?
So not the guy that was in it, but the guy who played Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah.
He auditioned for the role, and when he put on the paint, he had a severe allergic reaction to it, and so he wasn't able to take the role because of that.
Well, the more
piece
you know.
of knowledge I got for you there. I'm full of useless knowledge, I can promise you.
There you go.
All right.
Gotcha. Don't paint yourself silver. That's the takeaway here.
Covering my body in paint is just like cosplay type stuff in general is not my thing at all. Like I need comfortable clothing at all times.
All times. Oh, I've changed my entire wardrobe for working remote.
Yeah, pajamas. That's my wardrobe.
Yeah. My entire wardrobe is completely different now.
Yeah. It's funny. I literally am in comfortable shorts all the time. Usually a pajama shirt until I have a Zoom call, and then I throw on a nicer t-shirt, right? Like that's my life. And I love it.
I'm literally in Star Wars jammies right now.
Yeah, I love it. That's the way to do it. I didn't realize, are you full-time remote period or
Yep.
Oh, isn't it great?
Oh, it's the best. And I don't know if it's going to be like this forever, but Unity, who previously was a full West Coast based company, chose Orlando as their first East Coast operation. However, the world events that we've all encountered kind of interrupted that. And so we don't yet have a physical office. So that means the body of us who are here in Orlando, they moved some of their VPs and stuff over and hired a whole bunch of people. And we are currently hiring.
That is wonderful for everyone to know.
They created like a few opportunities for us to meet up, but other than that, we are all working from home, and there's no expectation to have any sort of physical office until 2023, which I think is kicking the can down the road just a little bit longer, which is totally fine with me because I love being at home with my cats and my husband.
Yeah, that's man. I cannot undersell how valuable having my dogs around all day makes me happy. Like it makes me more productive. Like I'm calmer, I'm more comfortable. Yeah, it's just it makes such a huge difference. I love it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I've stopped being shy about literally having my 8-year-old Tomcat on my chest during meetings. I'm just over here like, all right, and for the next thing we're going to be
Yeah, the truth is most people want to see it. They're like, "Oh, look, it's a cat." Like, it's we have at work we have a Slack channel for dogs and a separate one for cats.
Yeah,
and
so do we.
It's just filled with our daily dog pictures, and it's one of my favorite parts of my day. I love it. All right, we've got about a half hour left, and we have so much to cover. We're not going to cover it all. Let's go ahead and understand that. So let's talk about, because we have 3 projects listed here that you worked on, and we haven't talked about them at all. So after your time at Full Sail, what did you, or during your time at Full Sail, were any of the 3 credits that we have listed here something that you worked on during that time, or how would you like to talk about those projects?
Yeah, absolutely. I worked on a gauntlet of indie titles while I was at Full Sail, because I was hungry for work. I wanted to do something with my hands at all times, and I was constantly taking on new work. And there's a lot of failures in there. I recently heard about something called a failure resume, and I think that's really smart.
What is that?
Where you make a resume of all the things that didn't work out.
Like a separate resume?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. I thought that was a really interesting concept, right? Where you write down everything that you worked on that just never got shipped or didn't work out or fell apart, dissolved, whatever. And it just really humanizes the whole game industry.
Mine would be longer than my actual resume.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fail fast. We all do it, right?
Interesting.
So one of the ones that I worked on that really got some legs was Throwback Alai Heroes. And it started out as Alai Heroes. And that's how I earned that trading card. Was working on that game. And so you might be wondering, oh, where can I play it? Well, you can't, because I said so. But what is cool about it is that we were able to get the attention of some prominent arcade veterans, and they all really liked it. And so it's got some legs, and stay tuned. There are things happening, I promise.
It's
COVID
a project,
really interrupted it.
It was happening while we worked around each other several years ago, right? So,
well, okay, I'll be frank. Here's what happened. So we went on a tour alongside a popular arcade cabinet company, and we went to Fort Lauderdale, to North Carolina, to San Francisco, to New York, and showed the game. And at the end of that, we had 2 publishing offers. And we took one of them because the second one, that's because the one that we took would allow us to keep 100% of our IP. And we moved forward with it. They said that we needed to rebrand. And the rebrand was a significant undertaking. So we changed the name. We changed a lot of the game. The game is much different than it used to be. If we wanted it to be a piece of furniture, like an arcade cabinet, there were certain requirements that needed to be met. We got into conversations about time from coin drop to completion. It needed to be within a certain amount of time. I think it was like 1.5 minutes. And so we had to significantly increase the gameplay, decrease the gameplay time, like just chopping, like cutting out entire systems, cutting out entire menus, cutting out entire like tutorials, rebuilding the tutorial. Like
it's definitely a different thought process, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And that was Q4 2019.
2019. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I remember talking to Brian about when the cabinet discussion was starting, but I didn't know this part. I didn't know kind of where that went to.
Yep. We needed a operators menu, and we needed a whole new system for the operator, which was only accessible by the operator, and they would have to, open the cabinet, access it, and be able to control the volume and all the other things, so that they could make it more palatable to
each situation, right? Like each location. Yeah.
Couldn't be too loud. It needed to always be online. Every time it turned on, it needed to check the internet for updates. It needed a HDMI out so that it could be streamed or put onto a screen or something like that. There's just a bunch of stuff that we were learning as we were going through this. And there were a bunch of gimmicks we really wanted, and we were trying to pull those in as well. Like we got a whole bunch of the cosmetic system in at the time. However, the cosmetics were also a huge distraction, and they prevented the user from getting from coin drop to completion in a certain amount of time. So the cosmetic system was randomized. But then once it was randomized, we had to be sure that the characters' outfits never looked similar if they were on different teams. And there was a bunch more to it. We had to make an artificial intelligence system because you could never guarantee that there were always 4 people at the cabinet.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to make hard AI. It's really hard to make easy AI. And I can't claim any of that work. Brian did it all by himself.
Adding AI is such a colossal task. Like that's a major thing to do. That's not a simple adjustment, right? Like that's big.
Yeah. Mosby, I'll let you ask Brian about that. Yeah. So I really love pixel art, and that's something that I really love about the fact that this particular game got legs, is because I keep being able to make more stuff. And I've got crazy ideas for this cabinet. And right now I'm working on the cabinet side art and a bunch of other stuff. And it's all so exciting. But I mentioned it was Q4 2019 for a reason, because what happened right after that?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The world ended. So
exactly. So when the world ended, the dream of a in-person 4-player cabinet.
That's wow. I didn't quite think about it that way. Like, I don't want to be within 4 feet of anyone. Yeah. So like, what's so what does that mean? Like, what was 2020, 2021 like for this? Was it like on hold until you figure out what the state of the world is, or was it this gives us plenty of time to do what we need to do?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Completely paused it, and we focused on our day jobs.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of work being done on our day jobs at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that took a lot of extra effort moving to a fully online environment, right? And and acclimating to that.
We were focused on not losing our jobs or getting laid off, focusing on providing value, because the unique situation there was I was managing the going from in-person to online, and the system I was working on, we pitched the idea of adding networking so that our engineers could then experience the construction site in virtual reality and continue their design review from home.
Okay.
So we actually built a home version of our VR system that our designers were able to jump into, review the design straight from their CAD model into VR and Unity, and use our VR tools to take pictures and teleport and do whatever they need to do, export all of that out to a PDF and send it to whomever they need to make valuable changes. And it saves time, saves money, prevents errors, and literally saves lives. Because some of the stuff we were doing was like checking for steel beam height in a roller coaster to keep anybody's head from being cut off. So next time you ride a roller coaster and your head doesn't get cut off, you just think of me. You say, thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Man. So, but, jumping to just that part of the story, when I got the job at Unity, I made a little bit of a social media commotion, and it was right around the time, it was literally April 2021 when everyone was getting vaccinated. And there was an interest in the idea of going back into the barcade. And for those of you interested listening, goodness, there's a difference between Family Entertainment Center and a barcade. Family Entertainment Center, that's going to be your Firk and Keglers, your Dave and Buster's, your Chuck E. Cheese's.
What was that first company?
Firk and Kegler.
I've never heard that. Firk and Kegler? Yeah. I gotta look this up. Firk and I've never heard this. And that's what you led with.
Yeah, I know.
What is that?
It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Is this a local thing?
I don't think so. I think it's a franchise establishment. Yeah, I think it's in Waterford.
There's one literally next to my house, and I've never heard of it. Okay.
Sorry. Go check it out. It's fun.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, on that note, I think Chuck E. Cheese is under,
That's is that still a thing? Like, does that exist?
So.
Creepy animatronics?
Well, definitely that part. I think that part's been gone for a long time.
Let's turn it into a real life Five Nights at Freddy's. That's what we should do with all of those.
That's what everybody wants. Yeah.
All right. Sorry I interrupted, but
no, it's fine. The Family Entertainment. I
gotta put this in the chat so people can actually see what this is spelled like. There we go. All right.
Yeah. Is it 2 words?
It's listed as Firkin and Kegler.
Firkin Keglers.
What a name. All right. Sorry. Anyway.
Burke and Kegler, Dave and Buster, all those are considered family entertainment centers that you may call an arcade. However, the significant difference is that if you walk into any modern arcade like that, a family entertainment center, it's going to be ticket redemption machines that are basically like giant mobile games with one button. Play Flappy Bird on a giant mobile screen. That's not a mobile phone, but it's replicating the mobile phone experience, and it's just really big. Or you get those like broom scale VR experiences where you and 4 friends can jump in, or you get like I don't know, like physical, like hit the mole with the ticket redemption machines. There is still a place in our lives for the 1980s, 1990s arcade.
Yeah.
And that is a very specific type of person. And that is a very specific audience. And anytime we talk about game design, we talk about audience first. So who is our audience when we talk about a Alai pixel art game?
Sorry, say it again.
Who's our audience when we talk about a pixel art game that's based on the game of Alai? Like Alai had its heyday in the late 80s and early 90s. And any adult that's alive today that remembers it probably watched it with their grandpa and had their first taste of whiskey and a cigar when they were 9 years old.
Yep. It's a very niche thing, right? Like
extremely niche. However, the people who remember it love it. So it is a nostalgia market. So if we're going into the nostalgia market, we need to make sure we're accessing the people who are most affected by that type of nostalgia. We're going to find those people at the barcade. And the barcade is a very specific place for the new bowling league. It's the, hey, honey, I'm going to go out and play with the boys. And they're going to go to the barcade. And I don't mean to gender that. It's just a joke. But you're going to go and you're going to take a reprieve from your work day as an adult between the ages of like 28 and 50. There's a very wide margin of people who enjoy the barcade.
Mm.
And I also don't mean to cut the lower market out too, but you guys are good. You got a lot of stuff that's made for you. Okay,
right.
Let's have this. Everyone can enjoy it, but here's our target audience. And a barcade is very specific. It's a vintage arcade where the passionate few who love the idea of restoring and maintaining vintage arcade cabinets go there to enjoy them. Either they restore them themselves, they own them themselves, or they're just fans of them and they want to have that experience. Just like when they were young and they used to go to the arcade with a pocket of coins.
Nostalgia. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So then there's the indie arcade scene, and indie arcades it's the concept of bringing a brand new game to that space, because any arcades that are made today's era are only made for the family entertainment centers. That's it. In order to make a arcade for a barcade, it has to be an indie company that goes through and decides to create something for this market, which wasn't a thing before people like Bumble Bear decided that this was a thing that they wanted to do. And a lot of people have followed in Bumble Bear's footsteps. And I respect the hell out of them. I really do. So I think it's the coolest, most grassroots, like underground punk rock game development thing that we can do in today's day and age. And so like it was definitely Brian's idea. He was like, what if we made an arcade cabinet? Like, yes, absolutely. Like, of course we're gonna make an arcade cabinet. Absolutely. And I remember we had already been to E3 and we had gotten the okay from Nintendo to like pursue Nintendo and put it on the Switch. And every single time I would show this game, when are you gonna put it on the shop? When are you going to make it available on Steam? You're going to put it on itch.io? Like, no. Like, at this point, this was a Fabergé egg that I had spent several years on. And in my mind, putting it on the eShop had to be a perfect storm of social media marketing and just community effort to make sure that when it goes live, it hits a certain number of metrics to make sure it gets carried off by some other entity and then hit its second wind. And if it doesn't even hit a third wind, it's going to fail, right? Like, even if you get picked up by a major news outlet, you're still going to have a game that fails. You're going to get like $15 in sales if your game is under a certain threshold of price. And is that going to offset the cost of development? Absolutely not. And how many people are working on your team? How many times are you going to divide that profit? Anyway, I thought
you just like in a not meaning to, you just kind of described indie development in a nutshell, right? Like that, it's the same struggle, right? Like there's so much of like time investment and passion and all the stuff that goes into it, but you've got to hit certain thresholds in order for it to be viable, right? Especially in a longer term.
Yeah. Remember all those failures I told you?
Right.
Yeah. Like, I'm aware. So it's like, I looked at this project and I'm like, I think that this has potential. I want to see this arcade cabinet in Hypothetical arenas, because I know that Hypothetical is coming back because of the banning of dog racing. And so like they have children's Hypothetical leagues. So I know that there's like this new generation of people that would be willing to and interested in playing this game. And we made it easy to pick up and fun to master. So it's got that appeal to everyone, even if you don't super know what Hypothetical is. You know, it's that thing with the banana basket and that thing that was on the Simpsons that one time.
Also, I just threw a link in the chat. It was on Jackass once. I don't know if you've ever seen this. I just threw a link in the chat where
and Mad Men.
You can get a glimpse of how quick this ball moves. It is insane. The sport, I didn't know about it until I moved to Orlando to come to Full Sail, 22 years ago. And it is very regional, right? Like there's, very specific spots around the country where this happens. But for those that know it, it's a very popular thing.
Yeah. Specifically the Philippines.
Yep.
New Mexico, South Florida, and Connecticut.
Connecticut? I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's weird.
I mean, it is not a safe sport.
Oh, no. In fact, the fastest ball sport in the world, save for golf. But in golf, you don't have a grapefruit-sized ball that is a piece of rock wrapped in a piece of metal wrapped in some lambskin, aiming for your head.
And someone waiting for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Ball speeds up to 188 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And when people die playing this game, they find shards of their skull embedded in their brain. So, you can't necessarily play it anymore, but there's still a ton of nostalgia around it. And that's really sweet. And I think it's a really cool game. It's very similar to racquetball if you haven't been exposed to it.
Yeah, for those that don't know, it is Highlight, and Cigar City makes a beer for it, which is the only IPA that I'll drink consistently. So,
sorry. That's my dream, is to like not because of, it's just because that is the only way that people know about it. It's like it's Highlight, like the beer.
You need that sponsorship. You need it like today.
Yeah, I know. And then what about like my artwork on a limited run can of Cigar City Highlight?
You know what? Let's see if we can make this happen.
Yes. And have it available at the launch, right?
Yeah.
When there is a launch, if there ever is a launch.
Right. So, all right. Obviously, there's not a launch set, but the fact that you still plan a launch is important to know. This is still a thing that's important to know. And I think we should, let's reach out to Cigar City and see what we can do about this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I there should be a launch sometime.
Yeah. I mean, launch is always the goal, right? I'm just saying,
Yeah. And then, arcade exclusivity is the exact opposite of releasing onto any e-shop, right?
Yeah.
It's a slow burn. It's an isolated release where the people who care about it get to experience it, And then the potential for other barcades being exposed to it, having some interest around it, and then choosing to purchase it for their place increases. And the cost of an arcade is so high that an individual will probably not purchase it themselves.
Right.
Unless they're
Some
what's
will.
considered an operator.
Yeah.
And an operator is going to have a warehouse full of arcades where they just collect them. And then they lease them out to barcades to allow people to play them.
So I want to talk about that a little bit, because let's talk about the business of this. So let's so you're doing these as arcade cabinets, right? Mm-hmm. This is something that's new to me, just in general. Like, I have not participated in, arcade cabinet at all. So let's assume that me, as someone who wants to support you as someone, right? Like, and I see the value in this thing. I would like to have a cabinet. What does that look like? Like, is it there's a set price where I'm like, I'm going to buy the cabinet from someone and that thing is now here and it gets regular updates? Would I pay monthly for updates? Like, what does that industry kind of look like?
It's like a piece of furniture attached to the internet.
Okay.
And every time it turns on, it accesses the internet, and it receives an update. So you do not have to pay for updates. But now that somebody I know maybe heard that, he's going to think about it. So yeah, you would pay one price for it one time, and it's in the multiple thousands. And
how many multiples? Like, are we talking like $5,000, $10,000, 20? Like,
I know
just
that,
roughly, like
yeah, I know that Killer Queen goes for $15,000.
Okay, that's a good example. That's a really good example. Yeah.
Yeah. Killer Queen is also 2 cabinets that are quite large. It is a 5v5 double cabinet system that are connected to one another. Very, very large. Like, it is the most beautiful piece in the center of a room.
Yeah.
Smaller cabinets, like, I think, and I probably will get this wrong, so please forgive me, but Black Emperor, which is also by Bumble Bear, I think that one is going for like $5,000 to $7,000, and maybe more, maybe less. But yeah, that is a single person cabinet with one skateboard wheel. It was created for alt control GDC, and so the only controller in that is a skateboard wheel, and it is the size of like a caterpillar, centipede, tiny 80s cabinet. So.
Okay.
Single person cab, $5,000 to $7,000.
Okay, that's not an unreasonable number, right? To get a cabinet in your space, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and say probably 2 to 4 for a single. 2 to 4. Final answer.
So if I am a bar owner, right, or a barcade owner, you're saying it's $2,000 to $5,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, to like have this thing in my space. Now, here's the question: do you have any thought or numbers on like what a rate of return on something like that is for an investor? Like, I put this cabinet in. Let's say I pay $5,000 to put this machine in my barcade. Is there, like, how long before someone recoups their investment on something like that?
Well, it's hard to measure, because and I want to point out that Vortex RPM did look it up. Black Emperor is 6K.
Nice.
Thank you very much. So it's difficult because most barcades are free to play.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's all alcohol consumption, right?
Yeah. You're going to be measuring on ticket sales for at the door. And a lot of people, it's like $20 per person every time they walk in.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Well, at that point, it's more of like a marketing cost, right? Like, yes. it's drawing people into your space by having something cool.
Which is why they would want something with a lot of publicity.
And unique, right? Like, it's
unique. Yeah.
I've heard a lot playing Alai out there right now, right? Like, nobody is. So
nobody. A lot of operators and bar owners and people that I've spoken to will feel a lot of pride about owning the first or the only X or we are the only person in this vicinity who has this particular X. It's very much a rarity, and it's a draw, especially Killer Queen, because there is a community around it. So when I was first exposed to the Killer Queen community, and if any of you are watching, hi, they were so special and unique in the way that they would, I'd gone quite a distance to go to the first one that I had ever been to. What I mean is a barcade with a Killer Queen event. And what I learned was that everybody there was from all over the country. And they came up to me like, "Hey, you're new. What scene are you in?" "What?" "I'm from Orlando." They're like, "Huh, I didn't know there was a cab in Orlando." So they had memorized where all of the Killer Queen cabinets were in the country. Yeah. And no, there wasn't a Killer Queen cab in Orlando. I just was saying where I was from. So if there was not a cab where I was from, why was I here?
Huh.
Yeah.
That's kind of fascinating. I went to, where was I? I was at either UC Irvine or somewhere. I went to an esports conference, and part of what they did was for part of the entertainment, they brought in 2 Killer Queen cabinets as like they just brought them in for an event. So I wonder about something like that. There apparently is a market also for, you can rent these and put them in whatever space you want for a while.
I would guess that is a operator renting them out.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's a collector renting them out and making some money off of his investment.
I love that's the right term, investment, right? For something like this, it's always an investment of some kind, right? Mm-hmm. Like, most of us are not buying arcade cabinets because we just want to play them in our living room. Like, some of us are. Most of us can't afford to do that, right? So it's an entirely different business model than what I've done in games for the last 20 years, right? Like, I haven't worked on something that's like, I'm going to put this out there and then hope that people buy it. And I'm going to get a certain amount of money, and then they are also going to make money off of it, potentially, maybe more than they paid me. That's like a very interesting business model that I think most of games has moved away from, right? Like early, the Pac-Mans and those things were all about crunching quarters, right? And trying to make money. Whereas that's not the way the industry is for 90% of the time now.
Nope. No, it's a really unique, like I said, the coolest, most punk rock thing in the game industry that I've ever heard, and I want to be a part of it. Like,
you are a part of it.
I have a trading card to prove it. For contributions to the arcade community. It's so much fun. Like, I'm very glad that we went this direction, and I'm glad we never released on a home console
yet. There's still that option, right? Like,
oh, absolutely.
There's so many arcade games that then become home games, right? So there's a whole 10-year plan here. So
oh, absolutely. But I would want it to be a little bit different so that the arcade machine is still viable, because releasing on home console does make the arcade machine less valuable.
That is fair. Yeah, that's true. Interesting. Yep. All right, so we have run out of time. Can you believe we've been talking for 2 hours already? No. It does not feel that way at all.
Not at all. Didn't even get to talk about artificial intelligence.
Right. So that's the thing. You're definitely going to have to come back on. We're going to talk later and figure that out. But before we go, is there anything that you would like everyone to know about? Anything you want to plug? Anything you're working on that you didn't get a chance to talk about at all yet, so they can at least be thinking and looking at that before you come back on?
Definitely follow my Instagram. That's where like my passion is. It's where I put my commissions and my caricature and things that I do. I kind of use that as my outlet to let people know what I'm up to. Nice. So if you want to know what I'm up to, it's Caris.captures. I also have my Twitch channel. I really want to start Twitch streaming again, but I haven't done it yet, so I'm not promising anything. And then if you want to be up to date on my professional stuff, if I'm doing any podcasts or anything like that, I have my Twitter page, just my first and last name, Caris Frazier. And if you're not an Instagram person, I have a Facebook for my art, but I won't belabor that. Go look at my artwork, see if you like it. I'd love to talk about that part of my life, doing the live digital caricature stuff. It's my way of being the street artist that I wanted to be when I was a little kid.
I love that.
I even wanted to call it Caris when I was like literally 7 years old. And
it's
so
such
when
a
I
cool
first
name, like I like it. Yeah.
when I first started doing it, it was Caris. I received some critique. They were saying your art really isn't caricature; it's more like stylized portraiture. And I was like, fine, I'll change the name.
On.
So I changed it to Caris Captures because if I ever want to grow that brand into something else, like let's say I move on in my artistic journey and I want to be a portrait artist, like through and through, I could still be that. It doesn't limit me or pigeonhole me into being one type of artist. So
I totally get that. I totally understand the reasoning, but I think in the way we do things today, I think it doesn't matter as much. You know what I mean? Like it's all about creating a brand for yourself, and then that brand can be whatever you want it to be. You know, I guess I wonder, would you have gotten the same advice today as you had gotten at that point?
I don't know. I guess we'll never know.
That's true.
Well, thank you so much, Jameson.
Thank you so much. I'm going to jump off here and say my goodbyes. You and I will talk tomorrow about finding another time to do this again. And
sounds good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.